Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Round Robin. I am your host, Tracy Preston, along with Christine Mulligan, Nina Mulligan, Angela Sinclair, and of course, my husband, Dot Preston. Hey, everyone.
Hello, Governor.
Hello. What's up?
Hey, everybody.
So welcome back for another show, everybody. And I think it's quite appropriate, or apropos, that we discuss the Super Bowl. It just happened.
It just happened.
And it was one hell of a game. And I spent a little time living outside of Philly for about 5 years, so I was all in on the Eagles, and wow, did they ever play an amazing game.
They played a great game.
Hustle, hustle, hustle.
Mm-hmm. They took advantage of every opportunity. They wanted it.
Yeah, so fly, Eagles, fly, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Very disappointed that the Lions didn't make it there, but next year.
Next year.
Next year.
But we'll settle for the
Next year.
Eagles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, football is a pretty brutal sport, even though we love it. And maybe that's why we love it so much.
Yeah, it's like a modern day gladiator arena.
Yeah, it's some serious shit.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of stuff going on, right? Lots of, broken bones, concussions, body problems. It's a rough and tough sport. Now, they get paid a ton of money, but is it worth it?
Right.
Is it really worth it? How much do you really enjoy it?
Right.
The retirement.
And I just, I played in high school, and I'm still feeling the injuries I got back then.
Yeah, you got tore up.
Yeah.
You did some tearing up and you got tore up.
I can tear alike.
Yeah. And so one of the things, I like to think about is what happens to the old melon, These boys are hitting pretty damn hard.
Right.
Concussions, big time.
Like the studies on concussions for a couple of decades now. I mean, they had that whole movie with Will Smith. Remember when that whole thing came out and there was all the trials and the doctor was trying to convince the NFL that this is like a real problem, and the NFL was denying it and they didn't want to necessarily agree with him. And wasn't he like a whistleblower or something like that?
I got to tell you, I don't think I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was called Concussion. And Will Smith played like the doctor that kind of did like the breakthrough study of it, where he was correlating these repeated blows to the head to having aggressive behaviors or early onsets of other degenerative diseases and things like that, and that these concussions were causing this. And so it led to a lot of players, post players that started to have these kind of, I guess, disabilities or early onsets of things that would not have occurred had they not been concussed so many times or whatever. I think at that point, then they started to change the rules, and then they started to change how the helmets were made because, there had been better information coming out about what concussions really do and the long-term effects of them, and one of them being rage.
Well, that makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it, right? I mean, where do they take most of the hits on the head? The frontal lobe?
I would say, yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, I just found that movie that she was talking about, and the discovery was neurological deterioration that is similar to Alzheimer's disease.
Right. We'll have to watch that, Nina. Thanks for bringing that up. I really liked Will Smith until he did the big smackdown.
The Chris Rock smackdown.
Speaking of head contusions. Anyway, what I was going to say is most of the accidents are coup contra coup, where the brain is actually whiplashing from front to back to front. I think we've even discussed this on a previous podcast that we've done about how brain injuries can cause violence in later years.
Right. We have certainly touched on frontal lobe issues. I mean, we had Andrew Kehoe. That was a big one. Went from an all right kind of a guy to
I can't remember his name. He was the one that buried his chopped up wife. No. He chopped her up and put her in the trash can in his garage. What was his name?
Oh, he chopped up his wife and put her in a trash can.
Yeah, in the garage.
Oh, for shit's sake.
He's the one that took off on foot, barefoot, out in the dead of winter.
Oh, Steven.
Yeah, didn't he have some head trauma?
No.
No? I'm thinking of somebody else then.
No. Yeah, that's what threw me off. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who else. We've talked about a handful of frontal lobe stories. Well, Nina, wasn't it you that found something about the discrimination related to players, and they call it CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy? And Christine, you're absolutely right. I did watch a little bit of a video about what happens with the brain when players get hit, and you're right. It bounces forward and then it sloshes back. Or they get hit in the front, it goes back, and then it goes to the front. It's pretty dangerous shit.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it, Nina, that you had found related to, I think it was an article you found?
No, I was just watching that TikTok, and this guy was breaking down an article that they had just up until 2021 were paying the African-American players less payouts for these brain injuries because, and the lawyers argued this in court, they didn't need to be paid as much because they were already cognitively less than the white concussed former football players. And their argument basically was that, well, white people are automatically more cognitively superior, that they have more to lose. So they would get more of a payout than their black counterparts. And like, as a white person, I'm highly aware that racism exists. I never would have guessed something like that. Like that it'd be so ingrained that some doctor somewhere has signed off stating that black people by birth are less intelligent than white people. And then a lawyer takes that to a court and then uses that as an argument to pay out when I think it's like 48%, and that number might be wrong, and Todd may be able to tell you this better than me. I think 48% of the people on the field playing that game are African American. They make up a huge chunk of who's playing those fields, and yet the very organization that is supposed to be there to protect them from these things are saying that they are inherently stupid from the womb. It was sickening. Wow. I was like so shocked.
Yeah, it makes me mad as hell.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, systemically throughout this country, in all regulations and from all bodies, racism is rampant, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And how in the hell did they come up with this bullshit that a man of color is not born as smart as a white man? That's highly offensive, and I'm white.
That's crazy.
I think it's disgusting.
It is very offensive.
Yeah.
It is disgusting.
Yeah, all agreed. That makes I can feel my pulse just really bounding in my neck right now about that. You know, there was there's actually quite a few of football players. This one in particular, his name is Aaron Hernandez. He was born and raised in Bristol, Connecticut. His dad was a football player, so he had two sons. Both of them played football, of course, all through high school, and they both ended up playing pro ball. Aaron, and he was a big kid. He was a big boy, like in high school. He looked like a grown man just about, and he'd had, I don't know how many concussions in high school, but one of them he was knocked out cold on the field, right? And he just kept going on and on and on, and then he went to University of Connecticut. And I believe when he went there, I think his brother was the quarterback when he started there. I want to say that's what I remember. You know, and then he ended up being last round pick, fourth round pick. What is the last round?
Fourth.
It is the fourth.
Yeah.
So Aaron was the 4th-round pick to play for the New England Patriots. And at the time he started, he was 23 with the Patriots. Good-looking kid, but boy, did he ever have a temper, right? Well, of course, there was a documentary on Netflix. Damn this Netflix, it's got me. But it was, on the documentary on Netflix that I learned all that. And then I also learned about, his father. He was a pretty tough guy, big drinking problem, had tempers, used to hit his mom and all that. So you got that in his makeup. That's kind of how he grew up. And he just seemed to have a temper that was getting more and more and more and more out of control. He ended up killing 3 people.
Yeah.
So after there was 2 men that he killed, just shot them because I don't know, maybe they bumped into him or spilled a drink. I can't remember what exactly happened. Was that right, Angela? They kind of bumped into him and spilled a little bit.
Yeah, but he was never convicted of their deaths, though. Only the one dude. I say only, but he was never convicted of the 2 men.
Yeah, and the reason for that is, well, we'll get to that. The one guy that he was convicted on, which I truly believe he thought he was getting off. Because this Aaron was like the golden boy, kind of. And he was getting in all kinds of trouble, and they didn't care. Even after he shot this guy, they gave him a $40 million contract.
Wow.
Because he was that good. So he was thinking he was going to get away with it, but he didn't. He was convicted, and he was sentenced to life without parole. And I'm not sure how long. Angela, do you remember how long ago or how long after he was convicted that he hanged himself?
So I think it was 2013 that it all happened. I know when he went in, his daughter was a baby and could barely talk. And when he hung himself in 2017, she was 4. I do know that.
Okay.
So it was like 3 years or so.
Okay. Yeah, so, I can't remember the name of was it a neurologist or I'll say neurologist, but she studied brains related to Alzheimer's disease. And she asked the family if they would donate his brain, and they agreed. And when they were looking at his brain, she said it looked like the brain of a 60-year-old man. It was, I think she said it was the most interesting brain she had looked at. Ventricles were huge. Other parts of the brain had atrophied. So it's severe CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And, near the end of the Netflix documentary, some of the football players were on the fence about it. They were like, there's a lot of football players. None of them are out there killing people. And I get that to a point. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that clearly he has anger, clearly?
Well, I might suggest that he was probably, if he had this temper like he's had, maybe he was also a brawler, and took a few punches in his head, prior to playing football.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Go ahead, Christine.
Well, chronic traumatic encephalopathy is from trauma, not necessarily abuse, physical abuse, which the contra coup, which is the largely accepted damage that happens with football players, their brain sloshing back and forth in their skull, bruising in the front and in the back, and contusing on all sides. But trauma is also the traumatic crap that he witnessed with his father and the lack of respect. And obviously, if we want to talk about nurture versus nature, brought into that as well. The nature of it all was he had his father's genes, and the nurture was that he constantly saw his mother getting beat and his father being volatile, and his whole world was a violent place. So unfortunately, we could talk forever and debate forever with this guy, but he had all the cards stacked against him. He had emotional and physical abuse to his brain.
And-
Traumatic.
And I just found this crazy article about his brother. You know that he was in prison too for a little bit?
No.
What?
Yeah, it says the brother of late New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez was sentenced Friday to 18 months of prison, time already served, for threatening to carry out a shooting at the University of Connecticut and to kill 3 people, including a judge, in 2023. Hernandez, who went by DJ while playing quarterback and wide receiver for UConn football in the mid-2000s, was suffering severe mental health problems at the time of the threats and has since been receiving treatment and taking medication, according to his public defender, Josh Ewing. U.S. District Court Sahala Nagala in Hartford also sentenced Hernandez 3 years of supervised release, during which he must continue mental health and substance abuse treatment, allow probation officials to monitor his electronic devices, and stay away from UConn and other locations he threatened, U.S. Attorney's Office said.
Wow,
He
that's
apologizes
interesting.
for his actions. Yeah, and they released him. So it runs in the family.
Yeah, maybe this is also kind of ties into that whole schizophrenia that kicks in the early 20s. I mean, this guy's a whole ball of wax.
Yeah, well, the other thing too that I wonder that Aaron was battling with as well is he carried on a homosexual relationship in high school with the quarterback. So I wonder, right? He's battling with that because he looks like a man's man, and him and his buddy in high school had quite the relationship. Like, of course, it was all behind closed doors and all that. But I also wonder if some of
Okay,
his...
well, hold up. Let me just stop you with the man's man thing. Because first of all, that is the definition of being homosexual, by the way, a man's man. But the thing is all shapes and sizes. All people are all things all the time. And you can't read a book by its cover, hardly ever. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons society has to learn, is you should never read a book by its cover. We've been hearing that saying, at least for my whole life. I know you all have probably heard that saying. You can't read a book by its cover. But this guy actually had a lot of rage. So I wouldn't put it past it that the trauma of not being accepted for who he truly was absolutely just more trauma.
Yeah, I agree. And there were also a couple of other guys that were in the documentary that they were also gay or homosexual. What's the best word for that? Does it matter for a man? Gay, homosexual?
Gay, homosexual.
Either one.
Either way. Homosexual would be all people that love the same sex, but a gay man or a homosexual man is fine.
Okay. So who knows? I'm sure his dad was, beat it into him also. I'm sure their dad was physical with them. You would think so, if he was physical with his wife. So he's got that. He's got the rage issues from the way he grew up. And then this guy was chronically getting high all the time. Like, I don't think he was ever straight. Like, they were like, oh, yeah, we got totally high, and then went to a game or went to tryouts or some stuff like that. So self-medication, right, to kind of help himself feel better. It didn't sound like he was a big drinker. I mean, clearly he drank at the bar and all that kind of stuff. But, so you have all that stuff going on. Then on top of it, you have the head trauma. So, maybe it's not necessarily the head trauma that you get, the CTE, that makes you that way. I mean, yes, you have impulsivity. You can have rage. But he had all that on top of the CTE.
Yeah.
And
like Christine said, he was the whole ball of wax,
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of factors.
Yeah. And there were a couple other guys, that's what I was starting to say before I rabbit holed there. There were a couple of other guys that played pro ball on the same team that were also homosexual. And the one guy's like, yeah, I beefed up. I got real fat. I'd be scruffy because I didn't want anybody to think that I wasn't straight. And how sad is that? After all those years, and finally after Aaron died, I don't know how long it was, but they started coming out, which is a good thing.
It's a good thing that they were finally able to be authentic to themselves, but it is, I can't express how sad it is that society has made people feel forced to fit in and color within the lines and do as they're told and be what they're supposed to and all of that. It's just kind of sad. I mean, people should be authentically who they are for whatever that means for that individual, whether it's you like the same sex or whether you really like to wear pink clothes and nothing but pink clothes. Then go ahead and wear your pink clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just bananas. And unfortunately, society is making a turn for the worse because everybody's got an opinion on what other people should be doing and saying. And I just can't take it.
I know. And I remember watching a documentary years ago on another football player. He was homeless, living in his car. It was real sad. And he ended up, I can't remember how he died, but they also autopsied his brain and found CTE. And then there was another football player, Junior Seau.
He played for the Patriots too.
Mm-hmm. And
pretty sure.
I
the
think
unfortunate thing with this line of, like with how we're kind of drilling down to football and the brain injuries and or if you want to call it chronic traumatic encephalopathy, the problem with that is when you're looking at football players' brains, I would probably bet that you're going to be hard pressed to find a football player's brain that doesn't show signs of chronic traumatic brain injury.
You know what's interesting to me is they said that they cannot diagnose it until post-mortem. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Why can't you do a head CT?
Well, you could do a head CT, but that's not going to be conclusive. The markers for chronic traumatic encephalopathy is going to be the atrophied portions, where I'm not really sure if that will show up in a CT.
But wouldn't it be like a different color, like darker, or
well, that's
like
it.
wouldn't that kind of like be like being brain dead in one spot? Wouldn't that show up as like a freckle of some sort?
I mean, it could.
You know what I mean? Like I say freckle, but
Yeah, but I mean, they should still be able to see the shape of the brain, right?
Yeah, you can see the shape of the brain, and the shape of the brain would be the same, but they got to cut into the brain to see where the damage is. Just like we talked about before, the penumbra. You can't find the penumbra.
Yeah,
you slice up the brain.
Like sometimes you can't tell that the banana is bruised until you take the peel off.
Not me. I know that shit's no bueno. But yeah, I feel you. The bruise didn't show on the outside yet. But, when they showed Aaron's brain, it was very much misshapen. And the ventricles were huge. You should be able to see that on a head CT.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just found it weird.
You can see that.
Yeah. And
I guess it just wouldn't be a definitive diagnosis through CT.
Gotcha.
Well, and then again, they probably didn't have an opportunity to do that kind of scan until after he was already passed away.
Right, maybe they didn't think about it. Well, this Junior Seau, what's really sad, he knew something was wrong. I don't think he could put his finger on it, but he committed suicide. But he shot himself in the chest because he wanted them to study his brain. And that's just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. And when I was watching the documentary, this is what I just found so crazy. So you have Aaron Hernandez. He's, on one side of the court with his fiance on that side of the courtroom. The man he killed was dating his fiance's sister. So you have Aaron on one side with his fiance. Then you have the family of the murdered, Odin Lloyd. So on the side of Odin Lloyd is the sister of the fiance for Aaron. And I just thought, oh my God, could you imagine?
Wow. That's a lot of tension.
It's heavy. It's sad.
It's awful.
Totally sad. Aaron's fiance totally just took his side and just was like, what I just found amazing is she was on the stand and they were asking her about her relationship with her sister, like something about, could you explain it or could you describe your relationship? She had nothing to say. Absolutely nothing. And it sounds like they had a close relationship. So blood sometimes, I guess, isn't thicker than water.
Right.
Bonkers.
All right, Trace. Round robins is supposed to be fun, and we're supposed to be cutting it up a little bit. I don't have nothing to cut up about when we're talking about racism and traumatic brain injuries. Jesus. I got no jokes.
What was it that you used to say about me? Like, we've been having the best time laughing, and then all of a sudden, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, dun, dun, dun. Morbid. That's it. It's either hysterics or morbid.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's either
it's
up or
like we
down.
pick a lane and we get stuck there. I hate it.
Well, bring us out of the ditch, why don't you?
Oh my God! I told you I got no jokes. You can't. I mean, there's no laughing matter in suicide and traumatic brain injuries and blatant racism. I mean, come on. Where's the jokes?
I know,
There's
you know.
none.
I started off with the hoo-yah for the Eagles and just took us
Yeah.
all right down in a flaming ball of fire.
Yeah, you were like, "Yay! I'm excited for the Eagles, the underdogs. Yay, they did great." Boom. Let's talk about misery for the rest of this call.
Hey, I can turn it around right now.
All right,
though.
what you got?
Well, there's two big
All right.
things happening this week.
What's happening this
We
week?
got Valentine's Day on Friday.
Oh, that's one.
And more important than that,
The biggest thing.
Angela's getting married.
Angela's getting married.
On
this
Valentine's
weekend?
Day.
Oh, congratulations. That's right. I do remember you telling us that before. Yay.
Thanks. I'm
See?
excited.
The wedding
So you're
bells.
still getting everything
Yeah.
set up? So you're having it at the house,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we're just having it at the house. A few of our family, like our kids and parents, and a couple of our friends, and my brother's gonna do the ceremony. So yeah, really excited. I just gotta clean, but I'm waiting till last minute because we have dogs,
Oh, yeah.
and any of you who have dogs know that if they go outside, they come inside and they trash the house.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting till the last minute to do all of that. But yeah, it's come together. Not too much to do. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Sweet. It's exciting.
We're very excited
4
for
more
you.
sleeps.
4 more
Nice.
sleeps.
you.
Sleeps.
Uh-huh. We're
We're
going.
gonna have a huge party this summer, and everybody will be there.
So, Tracy and Todd, what are you guys doing for Valentine's Day?
We haven't
We don't have any plans.
made any plans.
Do you guys have plans?
We do, actually. We're going to our place in Puerto Rico for the weekend.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice.
Oh.
Well, we got the
Our
little,
anniversary.
yeah.
It was for our anniversary, but then it got canceled because of the stupid hurricane.
Right.
So then we had to reschedule, and she decided to reschedule it for Valentine's Day to make it special. I was so excited.
Now, last time you guys were in Puerto Rico, you stayed by some damn chicken farm.
Yeah, apparently this place is also near a chicken farm. Apparently there's just chickens everywhere.
They're guinea fowl. They're
Well,
not chickens.
I
What do
rem-
they do with them? What are they doing with them all?
making chicken wings.
They're free eggs.
Are
Yeah.
we eating this chicken?
Yeah, they eat it too. Yeah.
Is it like chicken?
Yeah, kind of.
Or is it like greasy, like duck?
No, it's more like chicken. Yeah, it's more like chicken.
So bigger than a chicken? So like a...
Corn's kind of smaller than chicken.
No, I'm saying these particular ones you're talking
They're the
about.
same size as chickens.
Oh, okay.
They're just different
they were
color. The guineas. Aren't they like dark with spots?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're cute.
They're polka dotted. They're super cute.
Polka dot.
They don't really look like chickens, though.
They don't really look like chickens. They
Yeah.
have a different look
Well,
to
what's the
them.
ones with the feathers that are like roadrunner feathers?
Oh my God, ostriches?
No, they're low to the ground. Sometimes you see them on the way to New Smyrna. I thought those were guineas. And they kind of almost look like peacocks towards the back, but they're not like peacocks.
No, I don't know what you're
But they
talking
have those like little feathers up the back.
about. I don't know. Stop. I don't know.
Okay, sorry. Just cut that out.
I don't know. Stop.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about, apparently. I'm making shit up.
I'm seeing like a little bird, but all I keep thinking about is Roadrunner. I can't get that out of my head. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
Exactly. Well, I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for everybody. That's going to be fun. You guys are going to get some warm weather. And Puerto Rico is just beautiful. I love it there. And then Angela's getting married. She's going to be a missus.
Yeah. I'm going to be a Mrs.
Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you listening, as always. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like. So thank
Wait a minute.
I did not say lick.
Don't say like that too many times. Listen. Doesn't sound appropriate. Not appropriate.
I walked right outside those damn lines.
I think Christine's got some tainted ears because
Her head's always in
she
the gutter.
always goes in the other direction.
She's a dirty birdie.
She's
Not
a
a
dirty
dirty
Cornish
guinea.
Not
hen.
a guinea cow.
Well, cool. Well, if you guys have those guinea fowls just, squawking away, we should probably get another video of that.
Yeah, maybe that's why I like going to Puerto Rico so much, because nobody around the house complains about me.
Yeah, true story.
Truth. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. Have a great week. And we will see you all back on Friday for F-Bomb. Well, have a great week, everyone.
All right, bye.
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 Later.
Adios.